stream it live. We'll do it live. Let's talk. It's Friday happy hour. Been making stuff all week. Oh yeah. Now it's Friday. It's happy hour.
It's happy hour.
Let's talk about stuff and stream it live. We'll do it live. It's the weekend. It's time to crack open a beer. And maybe tomorrow go
All right.
to the beach. Oh yeah.
Let's get this thing going. It's happy hour. All right. All right, here we go. It's Friday happy hour. So let's just get right into this. I'm going to talk about the same thing I talked about last week, which is the video that came out this week, which was supposed to come out last week, and that's the George Lucas problem with AI. Let me just get the beer going here first. So today we've got a nice Jersey beer. Well, we had a Jersey beer last time, but we've got Carton Brewing. It's a fridge filler. My fridge isn't full of these, but you know, I've got 4 of them in there. Well, now 3. So let's crack this open. It is a lousy weekend here at the Jersey Shore. It's cold and it's going to be rainy and cloudy and a terrible start to the summer, but that's okay. So let me finish pouring this. So yeah, I got the video done, released it, I guess, on Tuesday, and you know, it took me a little while. Like I think I had said last week, I was rewriting it a bunch, and probably rewrote it 5 times and shot it like 3 times, just trying to get the ending right. But you know, the basic premise is if you're using AI, you have to be aware of the fact that AI is basically trained to tell you, or won't tell you all the time that your stuff is awesome, but it's more inclined to tell you that your stuff is good and to be supportive. And you have to be very aware of that and tell it specifically that you need pushback. Because if you're working alone, like a lot of people using AI are probably doing it because they don't have like teams of people to do stuff, which is still the better way to do things. But if you're working by yourself, then you know, AI is a great tool. Let's do a lot of things you couldn't do. But the problem is you don't have that collaboration, and you know, sometimes I think we all have ideas that are not so good. Am I unmuted? Oh my God. I'm not. I'm not muted. Okay, I thought I had forgot to unmute my mic again. I was gonna like really. I need to put a light on the mic. You know, they've got those mics that have the light on them so you can see when there's actually sound coming through. I think I need one of those. The mic is on. That's good. All right, beer is poured. Cheers. Here's to the weekend. I hope it's better than the weekend weather is here, because here's not very good. Oh man, that is a really good beer. All right. Well, at least there's one good thing about this weekend. Got a decent beer. Okay, so let me see. I don't know if I should pull up the video. I mean, there's really not much to talk about it. If you didn't see the video, you should go check it out. It is really important to know how these LLMs work. If you're using any of these tools, the best way to get the most out of any tool you're using is to understand the tool and how it works. And the problem with LLMs is they're going to, like I said, they're going to be very supportive and tell you that your stuff is great. And the idea, oh, what a great idea. And I was actually running into this today. I'm starting work on my next, trying to figure out what the next production is going to be. And I've got a few things. I've got a bunch of stuff lined up. I've got a whiteboard over here that's like filling up with ideas. But I've got an old thing I was going to start like last year. And I was gonna, it may even been longer than that. I was gonna start it in Unreal. Actually, it was a couple years ago. I think I wrote this and was gonna make it with Unreal, but there were a lot of parts that were gonna be really complicated to do. So it's kind of been put on hold. But now with AI, the things that were going to be problematic are not going to be a problem anymore. So I've been working on, broke out the old script, and I've got 2 drafts here. I actually had 2 different versions. I got to put my headphones in 1 second. I had 2 versions of this story, and I couldn't decide which one I liked. I also had 2 different like artistic ways that I want to go as far as like, you know, the look and feel of it. One was going to be kind of like an old like period piece like in the 40s, and the other option was going to be more modern, you know, current day. And I decided, hey, because of the nature of the story, I could actually do both. So I'm going to make the period piece, the 40s version of it. And also, not only can I do the period piece, but the 2 different versions of the story that I was like, I don't know which one works better. I actually can do them both, and one can be the period piece, the other can be the more modern piece. So it actually has turned into a trilogy. So talk about you know, scope creep, as is always the case with the things that I start working on. They balloon in complexity, but this actually is not a bad thing because it I don't have to make the trilogy. But I could. And they're both very short. I'm talking like, you know, 3, 4, 5 minutes each. And I'll make the first one. And, you know, if it does well, if it comes out good, then I can go and make, there's one that happens previously, and then there's one that happens after it. So I'd go the middle one, then go back in time, then go forward in time. But I don't have to. So if it doesn't come out good, or you know, nobody watches it, then I won't bother with the other 2. But, you know, for some reason, if it does well, then I've got more material I can work with. And I kind of like to go with those kinds of ideas. You know, if you're making stuff to, you know, if like, let's say you make a short and then it pops off and becomes super popular. And then you're like, oh, I should do more of that. But it was a short story and there's nothing else to do. So I like to have stuff that, even if it is like a little short, it's got some life to it, where if it was popular, it could actually take off and become you know, something bigger. You know, you don't want to kind of like you know, waste an opportunity. But you know, the flip side of that is I don't want to take something and just expand on it just for the heck of it, just because it's popular. If there's nothing there to expand on, and you just do what Hollywood basically does, and you know, it's just basically recycling things to the point where there's nothing left to tell, but you still just keep telling the same story. Although to some extent, this thing that I'm doing is actually telling the same story several different times, but it takes place. It's interesting. Like, I think it's going to be interesting. I don't know if my focus is correct. I'm looking at my monitor here, and I think my microphone's in focus, but I'm not in focus. I don't know. It could just be the resolution. Anyway, it's at some point I need to upgrade my camera, but not today. So, yeah, I mean, it's fine, I suppose. You don't really need to see me in much detail anyway. So I'm trying to think of things that we could talk about here. I've got an eye on the chat, and try and make sure I keep an eye on that if somebody pops in. Again, like early days of this channel, getting it rebooted. I'm trying to get a consistent format. The live streams are going to be, I don't know if it's going to be every week, maybe every other week. And I think I've said this before, and I'll probably just keep saying it. The format of the stream will be, I'll talk about a video that I released that week, or something that I'm working on that week, or something that's coming up. And, you know, I'll either go over workflows. Like next week's might be, if I get going on these shorts, next week will probably be where things are, kind of going over the workflow, because I've been investigating various different workflows. I think I'm going to try a different website, a different aggregator. I'm using Higgsfield now, but I think I might use, I should have a little bit of background music. I think I'm going to try Top View, which is another one. and just try it out and basically go through the paces of doing like an entire short with it. Excuse me. I did use Higgsfield to make the Sky Island short. The problem I have with Higgsfield is, well, there's a couple problems. One is it's hard to organize things. Like everything, you can put things in folders, but then when you, I'm not going to get into it. It's just I find it difficult to use. I could be using it wrong, but I find it hard to organize stuff. The other thing is they have this thing called Canvas, which is really the way you should be doing it. It's kind of more like a comfy UI type setup where it's node based and you've got things kind of laid out, and they did a video about it. They did their last they did their grind, their hell week or hell grind or something video where they talked about using their tool Canvas. And the problem with it is I don't like, my plan has unlimited image generation with Nano Banana Pro. And, you know, if you were to get a plan now, depending on the tier plan, you get, you know, they give you like unlimited generations with some of these tools. And creating images is really important with the AI side of things. It's like, that is your assets. Those are your models, your textures, like everything is based on these images. The video models reference those images to create the videos. So if those aren't right, then your whole video is not going to work. So it's really important to get those right, which means you have to generate a lot of generations. It's better to generate images than to generate videos. It's quicker, it's cheaper. But so I have a plan with free Nano Banana Pro. If I want to, I could spend the credits to use like the new ChatGPT Image 2 or whatever it's called, or Nano Banana 2. But ChatGPT Pro Nano Banana Pro seems to be pretty good. But the unlimited credits don't seem to work with the Canvas tool. Now, I don't know if that's because it was still kind of in beta when I tried it, but that's like, hey, I paid for unlimited and you're going to like restrict me to certain tools. I guess I could try now. Let me see. Let me just hop over here now. I'm not going to bring it up on stream, but I'm just curious if I go into Canvas. And we go into, I started making like an Arc Raiders canvas. I suppose I could show it. So the basic premise is, the basic premise is you get this canvas, right? And you can basically bring all your images and stuff in here. And so, just for looks, I brought in like the poster, and I'm making myself the star. Well, not the star, one of the stars. I'm the salty old veteran. And then there's two other characters that I'll be with. And here's like my character sheet. So here's the character sheet of me. This tells the AI, the video model, like what I look like. And, I basically have these all plugged into a couple prompt generators here that from this point, I can just click a button. See, so yeah, Nano Banana Pro. So here's what I'm talking about. Like, there's no option here for unlimited. So I paid for unlimited. Like, that's what my plan includes. Like, Higgsfield really annoys the crap out of me, which is why I want to try Top View, because I want to move away from Higgsfield. It's a good tool, but there's just something about them. It just always kind of rubs me the wrong way with the way things, there's something about them that I'm not really digging. So, and this is one of them. I paid for unlimited Nano Banana Pro image generations. And in fact, I should have like Nano Banana Pro, and I should have Seedream 5 Lite. Like, these should be unlimited. So the fact that it cost me 2 credits to run it in this canvas, but if I go out to my image generation window, it's unlimited as it should be, that's messed up. So I don't want to use them anymore because of stuff like this. Like, that's just not cool. Why is it not part of my... Anyway, because image generation, like I said, you really should be spending the credits to get these images right, because if you don't, your videos won't come out right, and those are a lot more credits. So I think Top View actually even like cost per, the like cost per second for Cdance, which is now the best video model out there. I think it's actually cheaper than what your cost per second is with Higgsfield. So there's right now just kind of a lot of reasons to get away from Higgsfield. But the basic premise of this is you just kind of lay out like this is one of the other characters. You do a style sheet where you get the views of all the different characters, you get a view of the different characters. In this case, he's got a couple different outfits. He's got some here without the backpack. This has him with the big backpack. And then, this is just the backpack on a mannequin, just for reference. And then here we have him, and here we have like some facial reference. And that's basically what you do. This is the character sheet for me. And you can have the canvas organized. So I've got characters, the arc, which, from the video game are the robots, the enemies. So I'm starting to like generate the, this will be my arc reference. So this is a wasp. And, you just bring in images. So you can just start to reference in images, and then you can create like different nodes. So you build like, you can have like a video generator, and you can like, let's see, how does this even work now? Output, so I could output this in to here, to the video generator. So now it's using this as a reference. But I could like plug, like all of these in. Why won't that come in? There we go. So anyway, you just start like wiring all this stuff up so that now I can have this ready to go as a prompt window. And you can even like, so I could even prompt. So now like this is like ready to go. So if I want to launch something, hello, there we go. So I could start to have duplicate that. So I could basically start to have various different prompts. Like let's say I had a sequence I was working on. I could start to like organize my prompts where this is prompt for, these are the prompts for, sequence 1, and these are the prompts for sequence 2. And I'm like, okay, I'm working on sequence 1 now, so I'm going to revert and I'm going to use this prompt instead. And I guess I have to disconnect this one first. And so you can start to do stuff like that. So you've got everything is kind of there, and makes it kind of easier to kind of switch back and forth between things. And keeps things more consistent. And it's kind of a really cool way to work. And it's like basically the workflow that I would like to use. Let me see here. I lost my other window now. Of course I did. Okay, well. So anyway, that's like Canvas, and I think all the websites now, all these like aggregators are starting to go to this type of format, because you really have to. If you're going to do anything complicated, you have to. That's just the way you have to work. You've got to have things organized, and you've got to have things so that you can just kind of like iterate and quickly, swap out. Like, you can have a list of your preset prompts that are ready to go, that are consistent, and you don't have to like go digging through old images to be like, oh, there's the image. I need to grab that prompt and copy, paste, and then reference these images and keep uploading things. It's a pain in the neck. So you do it this way, and things are always like ready to go. So yeah, I'm going to try Top View. And we're going to see if that works out any better. And one of the plans I see, they have a special where you get unlimited relaxed Cdance 2 generations for 30 days. So that now the wait times on those generations are going to be like 6, 7, 8 hours. but that's okay. Like I could just launch, I think you can only do 4 at a time. But if I can launch 4 free generations every single night during those 30 days, you know, or maybe even like 4 at night, 4 during the day, if I get 8 free generations a day, that would be great. That's, 8 times 30 is 240 free generations. That's a lot. So if I'm going to make one of these shorts, I could potentially get it done, with those free generations. Or if I want to like try some different things, I can experiment with those free generations. So the problem is it's going to be, just the plan is expensive and I have to decide if I want to commit to it. But that's going to be coming up, and there's lots of different things I'm going to want to talk about in the future. The future videos are going to be like when I want to talk about music, generating music. That's important. I think that's aside from images, that's like the next most important thing. If not, it's they kind of go hand in hand. Sometimes I think the music is more important than what's on screen. Sometimes what's on screen is more important than the sound. It kind of, goes back and forth. They're both equally important, and at times, the audio might be actually more important than what you're seeing. And at times there is no audio. There's very minimal audio. So but it's important. Like those are all choices you make, and sound, music, all that stuff, it's very important. So I've been developing, sound, like custom tracks. I got my custom theme music for Happy Hour, and I have like, let me just pull up a window here. I have custom, all the projects I'm working on, I'm getting custom, sorry, I'm trying to get organized here. I have custom music for, I could play some of the custom music that I've got. But yeah, I think my next video might be everyone needs their own theme song. Like I've got my own theme song. My videos have their own theme song. I'll play a little bit. Hold on, let me play a little bit. And so what I've done is I got a theme song that I liked. And then what you can do, and I'm making it with Suno, and you have to expect that you're gonna have to generate a ton of stuff. You're gonna have to crank through a lot of credits. Like if I'm gonna be working on something, I might burn through a month's worth of credits just generating 1 or 2 themes. And then once I get it locked in, then it's ready to go. And then once it's there, then it's like I can kind of iterate and make different versions of that. And what I mean by that is, let me turn my audio mixer. Why is it giving me a red? Oh, there we go. My system volume doesn't tell me what my volume is set at. So like for instance, I've got my Happy Hour music, and I'm going to go over to, I'm not going to bring this up on screen. So if I go to my current short film, which is called What Did You See? It's about an underwater submersible, mermaids, sea monsters. It's kind of very dark, spooky, mysterious. And so I've got like, there's let's see here. Okay. So let's see. I've just got a bunch of ones that I liked. I've generated a whole bunch of new ones. Let me see if I can find like the base theme here. Are my headphones on? I don't think that's it. I'm looking for the base theme. What is this? So there it is, and there I've got like, so I've got some female vocals layered in there because it's kind of like the siren song of the mermaids. I'm trying to find like the bass audition here. I've got like, so can't find it. I've got it downloaded. I should probably have sorted through these. Anyway, so basically what I do is once I get a melody that I like, then you can start to make different variations of that. So what I do is I could make like, just do a strings only version, or just do like a fast upbeat version that's energetic, with, brass strings, or you just do like here's a dark cello version, and the prompt is a dramatic cinematic orchestral score with reverb, haunting and ominous, dark cello, piano, timpani, tragic. And I actually have not listened to this one yet. This one still has the unread or the unlistened to thing, so we can listen to it in real time right now. So there you can kind of hear like the main melody right there. Actually, I can play the. Here it tells me what the actual. This should be the main theme. Oh wait. Here it is, I think. I don't know if that's the one I'm using either. But basically the point is like this got the basic theme, like the melody in there. And once you get something you like, you can generate all different covers of it, which basically you can say, I want this now just piano, or I want it, I want it rave style, or I want it 80s rock, or I want it whatever, And so you can start to make these different variations of it that will fit various different moods. So if you have an action-packed scene, it's high energy, you can make that version of it. And then if you have like a slow, moody moment, you could make that version of it. And then you got to edit between them in your cut, but you have those different versions. This also does the ability to generate stems, and stems are basically, it will give you the strings. It'll separate all the parts out, like strings, percussion, brass, like whatever the different sections are, so that you can then like actually remix the track in your edit. But I found that the stems don't work very well. So anyway, that's going to be one of my videos because, it sounds really important. So I'm going to kind of go over my Suno workflow. Suno seems to be the best. There's other ones out there. I haven't used them, so I can't really speak to how good the other ones are. I forget what the name of the other one is. There's another one that's like, I think Suno's considered to be the best one. And I've had a lot of luck with it. So that's what I'm using. And I just think like the problem with this, it's the problem with anything AI, is that somebody who does like worked in films and stuff for a long time, like I can see the issues with the video generations. You know, it's a thing where I'm like, you know, that's kind of messed up, but whatever. It, you know, it is what it is. But I can see that. It's, and a lot of it like is stuff that normal people probably wouldn't see. And same thing with the music. There's probably a lot of things in here that somebody who does music would be like, yeah, I got a happy birthday message. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Yush. It is in fact my birthday. I got younger this year, so I think I'm 30, if my math is right. So the idea is to generate, you know, enough versions to make something work, but with the knowledge that it's not going to be perfect. Like if you listen to it with the ear of a musician, you're going to hear wonkiness just the same way that I can see the wonkiness in the video generations and stuff. But since I can't compose my own music, there's really, you know, it's kind of really all I can do. Now, the better solution would be to go to a stock music site, you know, like Artlist or, you know, some of these other ones. But then you're going to get, you know, you're going to be drawing from the same pool of music that everyone else is. And, you know, I've used music in some of my things where then I hear it in other videos because, you know, that music can be used anywhere. And that's one of the downfalls. The good thing about that is the quality is much better. I mean, it's just better. It's made by a person. It's made by a professional. The quality is going to be better. But you're going to have to kind of like find something that works, and it may not be exactly what you want, and it's not going to be unique to your project. And this is why I say, and I'll just wrap it up with this because I'm almost done with my beer. As good as all these AI tools are, nothing beats working with a team of humans because you're going to get the best quality that way. You just are. Maybe that'll change in the future. Maybe these tools will be able to outdo what people can do, or at least match it. But pardon me. Hold please. I'm sorry, I'm getting other messages and it's distracting me now. So, but the point is, like, if you have people working for you, they're going to do the best work, and you're not going to have this kind of randomness that AI gives you. And it's really just the best way to get the best quality. So, whether it's music, whether it's videos, whether it's images, you know, that's the best thing. And if somebody wants to give me a few $1 million, I'll hire all people and I'll drop all the AI stuff. But for the time being, that's kind of, you know, really the only viable solution. I've tried live action. I've tried, you know, like doing the Unreal CG animation route. It's still problematic. There's still a lot of stuff to do, and it's still very difficult if you're working by yourself. You need money. You need a crew, you know, and that's the best way to do it. You'll get the best quality that way. But if you're just one person, you don't have money and a crew, the AI tools are the way to go. But, you know, you just have to realize that, you know, people that say, oh, look, I made something that would have cost hundreds of millions of dollars and it's just as good as what a studio would have made. Or it's not. It's just not. These are people saying the stuff that have never worked at a big studio. They don't really know the quality and the level of scrutiny that goes into the work. They don't know or understand, so they don't kind of know what they're talking about. Anyway, that's kind of my rant on that stuff. So yeah, I think the next video is going to be about the music generation side because I think that is important, and I think it would be a quick one. So it's either going to be that, or if I get far enough along on my What Did You See shorts, then I will I'll do a workflow video on that for the live stream. And with that, I think I'm going to finish my beer, and I think I'm going to call the stream done. So hold please while I just prepare here. All right. Hope everyone has a great weekend. And I hope that the weather for you, wherever you are, is better than it is now. And if you watch this later, then I hope it's not raining and cold. And I hope you're watching from the beach, because that's where I want to be soon. Probably not tomorrow, unless I want to get rained on. But that's it, everybody. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on.